This feature on the surface of Mars looks a bit like a bear's face. What is it really? There's a hill with a V-shaped collapse structure, the nose, two craters, the eyes, and a circular fracture pattern, the head. The circular fracture pattern might be due to the settling of a deposit over a buried impact crater. Maybe the nose is a volcanic or mud vent and the deposit could be lava or mud flows. Hello and welcome to KYC News. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. HiRISE has photographed hundreds of targeted swaths of Mars' surface in unprecedented detail. Its camera operates in visible wavelengths, the same as human eyes, but with a telescopic lens that produces images at resolutions that are unprecedented in planetary exploration missions. With these high-resolution images, scientists are able to distinguish 1 meter size, about 3 foot size, objects on Mars and to study the morphology, surface structure, in a much more comprehensive manner than ever before. Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is a spacecraft sent by NASA to Mars to study the planet's surface and atmosphere. It was launched in 2005 and has been in orbit around Mars since 2006. MRO has provided high-resolution images of the Martian surface and has made numerous important discoveries about the planet, including finding evidence of liquid water. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun, a dusty, cold, desert world with a very thin atmosphere. Mars is also a dynamic planet with seasons, polar ice caps, canyons, extinct volcanoes, and evidence that it was even more active in the past. Mars is one of the most explored bodies in our solar system, and it's the only planet where we've sent rovers to roam the alien landscape. NASA currently has 2 rovers, Curiosity and Perseverance, 1 lander, InSight, and 1 helicopter, Ingenuity, exploring the surface of Mars. Perseverance rover, the largest, most advanced rover NASA has sent to another world, touched down on Mars on February 18, 2021, after a 203-day journey traversing 293 million miles, 472 million kilometers. The Ingenuity helicopter rode to Mars attached to the belly of Perseverance. Perseverance is one of 3 spacecraft that arrived at Mars in 2021. The Hope orbiter from the United Arab Emirates arrived on February 9, 2021. China's Tianwen-1 mission arrived on February 10, 2021, and includes an orbiter, a lander, and a rover. Europe and India also have spacecraft studying Mars from orbit. In May 2021, China became the second nation to ever land successfully on Mars when its EuroMars rover touched down. An international fleet of 8 orbiters is studying the red planet from above, including 3 NASA orbiters, 2001 Mars Odyssey, Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and MAVEN. These robotic explorers have found lots of evidence that Mars was much wetter and warmer, with a thicker atmosphere, billions of years ago. No other planet has captured our collective imagination quite like Mars. In the late 1800s, when people first observed the canal-like features on Mars' surface, many speculated that an intelligent alien species resided there. This led to numerous stories about Martians, some of whom invade Earth, like in the 1938 radio drama, The War of the Worlds. According to an enduring urban legend, many listeners believed the story to be real news coverage of an invasion, causing widespread panic. Countless stories since have taken place on Mars or explored the possibilities of its Martian inhabitants. Movies like Total Recall, 1990 and 2012, take us to a terraformed Mars and a struggling colony running out of air. A Martian colony and Earth have a prickly relationship in the Expanse television series and novels. And in the 2014 novel and its 2015 movie adaptation, The Martian, botanist Mark Watney is stranded alone on the planet and struggles to survive until a rescue mission can retrieve him. The planet's cold, thin atmosphere means liquid water likely cannot exist on the Martian surface for any appreciable length of time. Features called recurring slope lineae may have spurts of briny water flowing on the surface, but this evidence is disputed. Some scientists argue the hydrogen spotted from orbit in this region may instead indicate briny salts. This means that although this desert planet is just half the diameter of Earth, it has the same amount of dry land. The red planet is home to both the highest mountain and the deepest, longest valley in the solar system. Olympus Mons is roughly 17 miles, 27 kilometers, high, about 3 times as tall as Mount Everest, while the Valles Marineris system of valleys, named after the Mariner 9 probe that discovered it in 1971, reaches as deep as 6 miles, 10 kilometers, and runs east-west for roughly 2,500 miles, 4,000 kilometers, about 1/5 of the distance around Mars and close to the width of Australia. Scientists think the Valles Marineris formed mostly by rifting of the crust as it got stretched. Individual canyons within the system are as much as 60 miles, 100 kilometers, wide. The canyons merge in the central part of the Valles Marineris in a region as much as 370 miles, 600 kilometers, wide. Large channels emerging from the ends of some canyons and layered sediments within suggest that the canyons might once have been filled with liquid water. Mars also has the largest volcanoes in the solar system, Olympus Mons being one of them. The massive volcano, which is about 370 miles, 600 kilometers in diameter, is wide enough to cover the state of New Mexico. Olympus Mons is a shield volcano, with slopes that rise gradually like those of Hawaiian volcanoes, and was created by eruptions of lava that flowed for long distances before solidifying. Mars also has many other kinds of volcanic landforms, from small, steep-sided cones to enormous plains coated in hardened lava. Some minor eruptions might still occur on the planet today. Channels, valleys, and gullies are found all over Mars, and suggest that liquid water might have flowed across the planet's surface in recent times. Some channels can be 60 miles, 100 kilometers, wide and 1,200 miles, 2,000 kilometers, long. Water may still lie in cracks and pores in underground rock. A study by scientists in 2018 suggested that salty water below the Martian surface could hold a considerable amount of oxygen, which could support microbial life. However, the amount of oxygen depends on temperature and pressure. Temperature changes on Mars from time to time as the tilt of its rotation axis shifts. Many regions of Mars are flat, low-lying plains. The lowest of the northern plains are among the flattest, smoothest places in the solar system, potentially created by water that once flowed across the Martian surface. The northern hemisphere mostly lies at a lower elevation than the southern hemisphere, suggesting the crust may be thinner in the north than in the south. This difference between the north and south might be due to a very large impact shortly after the birth of Mars. The number of craters on Mars varies dramatically from place to place, depending on how old the surface is. Much of the surface of the southern hemisphere is extremely old, and so has many craters, including the planet's largest, 1,400-mile wide, 2,300 kilometers, Hellas Planitia, while that of northern hemisphere is younger and so has fewer craters. Some volcanoes also have just a few craters, which suggests they erupted recently, with the resulting lava covering up any old craters. Some craters have unusual-looking deposits of debris around them resembling solidified mudflows, potentially indicating that the impactor hit underground water or ice. In 2018, the European Space Agency's Mars Express spacecraft detected what could be a slurry of water and grains underneath icy Planum Australe. Some reports describe it as a lake, but it's unclear how much regolith is inside the water. This body of water is said to be about 12.4 miles, 20 kilometers, across. Its underground location is reminiscent of similar underground lakes in Antarctica, which have been found to host microbes. Late in the year, Mars Express also spied a huge, icy zone in the red planet's Korolev crater. The two moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos, were discovered by American astronomer Asaph Hall over the course of a week in 1877. Hall had almost given up his search for a moon of Mars, but his wife, Angelina, urged him on. He discovered Deimos the next night, and Phobos 6 days after that. He named the moons after the sons of the Greek war god Ares. Phobos means fear, while Deimos means rout.